This is teacher Tasama, grade 7 literature textbook on page 406. Today I'm going to summarize a story from a series of unfortunate events, The Bad Beginning. This excerpt is from chapter 2 of The Bad Beginning, the first novel in a series called A Series of Unfortunate Events. Chapter 1 introduces Violet Baudelaire, age 14, her brother Klaus, 12, and her sister Sunny, a baby. The children are enjoying a beautiful day at the beach when they are approached by Mr. Poe, a banker and family friend. He shares the shocking news that the children's parents have died in a house fire. As you see here, you have three characters. All of them are kids whose name is Violet. The children of Baudelaire, Violet Baudelaire, age 14, her brother Klaus, 12, and her sister Sunny, a baby. And while they were enjoying in a beach, they heard the shocking news that their parents have died in a house fire. You can imagine how painful it is to lose one's parents in a house fire. So painful. The children move in with Mr. Poe and his family until permanent arrangements can be made for their care. So their parents are now dead, so the only option is to stay with Mr. Poe, a family friend and a banker, until he arranges a permanent family to stay with. While all three children are very upset, for Violet the worry goes even deeper. All of them are upset, but Violet is the worry or the pain for Violet is deeper. She is the eldest sister, and all the responsibility to care about her brother and sister is hers. So it's really saddening, very painful for her. The children's parents were very wealthy. Their parents were actually very rich, wealthy, and this means that Violet and her siblings are now heirs to their fortune. So they are the ones who inherit their parents' property. But they have to wait until Violet turns 18. Until she will be 18, it will be Mr. Poe who will take care of their parents' property. Things are not so great at Mr. Poe's house. Not only do the children miss their parents and their home, they are not having much luck sharing a room with Mr. Poe's bratty sons Edgar and Al. They are not really happy when they lost their parents, and they're not living there in their house. It's fire destroyed their house, and sharing one small room with this disturbing, naughty boys is also another headache for Violet, Klaus, and Sunny. One night at dinner, Mr. Poe announced that Violet, Klaus, and Sunny will be adopted by a distant relative, some guy named Count Olaf, who lives in the city. The Baudelaires are a bit surprised. The children of Baudelaire are a bit surprised. because they have never heard of this name that Mr. Poe calls him distant relative. They are really surprised. They have never heard of this Count Olaf before. Why wouldn't their parents have invited him over for dinner or something? No, they are right because they are living in the same city, and if he's a relative, at least they could have heard his name, or he could have visited them. Mr. Poe explains this is probably because he is very busy, but Mr. Poe is trying to comfort them. He's telling them he's not coming to your house because he's so busy. Count Olaf is busy. After all, he is an actor and he travels all around the world with his theater troupe or team, which means the children are pretty nervous, but the next morning they go to meet Count Olaf. Even if they are nervous, the next morning they go to meet Count Olaf. When they see the beautiful house and meet the lady that lives there, whose name is just Strauss, the children start to feel alright again. Yeah, the woman was very welcoming, and the house where she lives is also so beautiful, and they really start to feel good. That happiness is actually until they realize that house belongs to Count Olaf's next door neighbor. Not this house is not does it's not Olaf's house. Instead, it's his neighbor's house. The house they are going to be living in is so dirty. The house of Olaf is so dirty. It's practically falling down, and it has a drawing of an eye curved into the front door. Count Olaf doesn't look much better than his house. Even when they see Count Olaf, he doesn't look much better than his house. He's also dirty, which means he has a witty voice, stains on his clothes, some stains on his clothes, and one long eyebrow instead of two. Mr. Poe mentions how gloomy the house seems, and Count Olaf suggests he could spruce things up if he could get his hands on some of the Baudelaire money. It seems he is adopting this case to take their parents' property, because he is telling Mr. Poe, if I get some money from this Baudelaire's family, I will fix the house's problem. But Mr. Poe smacks that idea down right away. None of that money can be used until Violet comes of age 18. Until she turns 18, Mr. Poe, as he is responsible for that property, he will not do anything with that money. The children can tell that Count Olaf is angry, but after a minute he recovers. As Mr. Poe leaves, the Baudelaire children are feeling pretty terrible. Now they feel very bad when Mr. Poe leaves, because when they see Count Olaf's house and the man himself, they think it's going to be terrible. Their life is going to be terrible. They also notice that Count Olaf has a tattoo of an eye on his ankle, just like the one on the front door. Seriously, is this guy creepy or what?